Hey, it's Lokazi casting for you guys a Hydra response to a Forge Fast expand. I'm playing the Zerg here on my other account, Dominion, which I have decided to go Zerg on primarily. It's doing okay. I'm just about Diamond. I'm #1 in Platinum, which is kind of silly, and have been for a little bit. But anyway, hopefully it'll be ranking up soon. All I face is Diamonds anyway. And I am spawning in here on Antigua Shipyards as the Blue Zerg in the middle right hand side of the map, and in the south we have Ares as the red Protoss. He knows that I am Zerg. At this point I am picking Zerg, so he knows I'm Zerg, I'm pretty sure. So he's going to be going for a Forge Fast expand, which is extremely common on this map. So it's something that as a Zerg you can take away from hopefully this game, how to aggress against it really well. And Hydras are really one of the few times you can use Hydras super effectively versus a Protoss is when they are Forge Fast expanding. Hydras are just so good versus gateway units, and when they Forge Fast expand, their Colossus is going to be much further behind. They generally try and Stargate tech to deny your third, which again Hydra is extremely good for, so you can prevent that Stargate aggression and go ahead and plan on your own aggression into their main. So we will see that here in this game. Hopefully I execute it pretty well. I have some other videos of this kind of, like I think there's a Vile Spinishiwa versus Exo you can check in on my stream that I believe has Hydra aggression counter to Forge Fast expand, but why watch like amazingly good Grandmaster players when you can watch me, right? Wait. Anyway, I've gone ahead and expanded here. His probe did not scout me, did not deny my expansion. So generally I go for like a 13 extractor pool type of deal, or pool extractor into an expansion versus Protoss. But because it's a really big map and he didn't scout me, and I have my Overlord placed right here to see if his probe comes up and starts to try and cannon my natural, I went ahead and dropped my natural. My pool's coming along. He has already gone ahead and dropped his Nexus, so it looks like it was about I think that was a 14 Nexus actually, maybe a 15. All he dropped was a Forge. He's not scouted any aggression out of me. That's a little ambitious out of him actually. A really early pool could have caught this and done a massive amount of damage, especially because this pylon was out in the middle with no cannon. Easy to surround, easy to pick off, and then able to run into the main. But anyway, he is walling up pretty well here, and he should have everything in position. He just scouted, saw my pool, saw that it's done, saw that I expanded first, so he feels really safe with his Forge expand, and he's going to go ahead and just drop a cannon now, and a Cybernetics core is probably going to finish up this wall here in just a minute. His expansion is just barely behind mine, so very good position to be in as a Protoss, so good Forge Fast expand out of him. I'm doing a drone transfer over to the natural, 2 Zerglings out, they're going to poke around. I have an Overlord way on the other side of the map. It's going to try and sneak around later and get in position to be thrown into the base if I need some scouting. Maybe morph it into an Overseer by the time that occurs. Cybernetics core finishing up the wall here, and I believe that pylon will be able to be destroyed, and that'll be his exit a little bit later. That way his front will be blocked with buildings with all, I believe 800 at least. Yeah, Forge has 800. So 800 HP. Pretty good solid wall there. Also, since it's at the top of a ramp, another great reason why it's a great wall. He's keeping up pretty well on probes. He is at 23 to my 24, so definitely a position that's solid for him. My Zergling dies, knows that this is now a wall in, and I am probably, hopefully, going to drone and morph and get ready for Hydras, because Hydras are just so good, as we've talked about here, against the Forge Fast expand. It's a great response to it. Now my Overlords are being positioned in a way so that way they can, if there's aggression right now, Stalkers can't pick them off, which is important because they're all up above the top of my, right, they can't be seen. In a minute, hopefully, if I remember correctly, I do throw these Overlords down and start creep spread with them once this layer finishes, and that's important. You want to kind of line it up because you want to build a highway of creep straight to the other player's base as fast as possible once you start committing to Hydras, because you want those Hydras to get there and be doing damage. You don't want them slithering across the field extremely slowly or anything like that. is 31-31 on the harvester count. He's doing really well there. He's starting up 4 gateways inside his main. He is held, hasn't seen any aggression. He's feeling good. He's researching +1, and he's just cruising along economically. He's in a place he wants to be, but luckily he is not going for any type of robotech, which again, most of the time they will not do. They feel like they're vulnerable when they're going for a Forge Fast Expand, and at this point he's expecting like a bunch of roaches to come, or Ling Roach, you know, a big push on his front if I'm going to do that. And if not, I might be teching the maybe a Mutaball, which again, Robo does not help you at all against. So you will see them not going for Robo 90% of the time when they're Forge Fast Expanding until they have 5 or 6 gateways. So that's a good marker and something that you can hopefully most of the time keep in mind. And here I'm moving out the Overlords. See, they're very close. They just had to move about 4 inches to the left. And then Queen, you have a creep tumor that's hopping forward, and then you send your extra Queen all the way to the front as far as possible, and this creep spread becomes extremely good, extremely fast. And that's what's really good about just planning out your Overlord movement. As you see better and better Zerg players, and I'm not saying I'm a great Zerg player, as you see higher and higher level players, Zerg players, you will notice their creep spread is immaculate, and it's really, really important. And over here we have a proxy somewhat pylon here by Ares. Looks like he's going to try and aggress with this 7 gate? Yeah, 7 gate. So he's going for 7 gate, which is again really common for Protoss to do after the Forge Fast Expand, and another reason why going straight into Hydras is an extremely good idea, because it is one of the few things that actually holds 7 gate, because Hydras just deal so much damage. Looks like he's moving forward, getting ready to drop some pylons. Doesn't realize my creep spread is quite as good as it is. I have 9 more Hydras coming out, which is going to be really nice here in a second. I will need these Hydras. He's going to try and push up my ramp, which is actually not what he wants to do. He did not wall the back of the ramp, which is a little bit of a mistake there, as my Hydras are just going to be able to one-shot Zeals as they move forward. Stalker starting up. 2 light force fields drop down, blocking a little bit of my arch. There it goes. More blocking in, trapping the Hydras against the wall. But Hydralists are, again, extremely good versus Gateway. So they will be taking all this apart, and my creep goes right up to the front of this battle. So I'm going to be able to take out this pylon. Down it goes. This closest proxy pylon is down, and a bunch of Hydras are on the field, and they're going to stutter step, and hopefully I think I kill some of these Stalkers. Cha! Pew! Pew! Look how good Hydras are on creep. Look at that. If only creep was everywhere. My creep spread is pretty good. I've almost connected over to the other base. I have some Lings, which you use to tank shots for the Hydralists. Ouch. And I'm going to, I believe, pressure on the wall now. 2 Robos being dropped. Kind of an interesting transition right now. 2 Robos being dropped. Again, you do want those Colossus as soon as possible. As soon as you see a Hydralist, you're like, uh-oh, Colossus time, because it's going to eat your entire Gateway army. And I held off the 7 gate pressure, and I'm now going into my counterattack here. Hydra's getting a lot of shots in, bottlenecking these Zealots, and those Hydras can just go to work, ripping through everything. Zealots getting finished off here. Creep Tumors almost to the front of the base, and the Hydralists are just picking out all the reinforcements. They're going to take out this warp gate, and in a moment, I believe the Cyber Core, which is another great thing. As soon as you take out the Cyber Core, all they can make are Zeals, and then you can kind of move into some Roaches, but Hydras are really good versus Zeals as well, without charge. Once they get charged, oof, not a fun time. But until they get charged, Hydra's pretty good, cost-effective wise versus them. Positioning here, running the 1 very slow Hydra away to try and stay alive. It does die off. Okay, micro there. And more Hydras moving up to reinforce. Creep is at the door. I'm now going to take out the Cybernetics Core, meaning only Zeals can be warped in. And the last round of Stalkers was warped in just before that, so the final hold is coming up here. And again, make sure you're always staying, when you get ahead, stay more ahead. Took my 3rd behind this. I'm going to take this out, so even if he did manage to push me out here, which he doesn't, game ends. Very well played both sides there. He had a really good Forge Fast Expand, very nicely laid out. He had just that one area right along right here. that it can come in and out of with the Zeals. Good wall in, very nicely done by him, straight into a 7 gate, which is really powerful. With, I believe he had +1 at the time. Yeah, he had +1 on that 7 gate push. So really powerful push had there not been as much creep and as many Hydras out as I had. Had it been Roach Ling, it would have been pretty difficult to hold that. Actually, I probably would have died, because Roach Ling is not nearly as good as Hydra with those sentries, just because you can box them in so much easier, and Stalkers are extremely effective against that Roach Ling with just a few Zeals there to protect them, and the sentries blocking in as much as possible. So this was, again, a Hydra response to a Forge Fast Expand. This is something that you can use in a lot of your games versus Protoss. Any map you know where they use Forge Fast Expand a lot, like this one here on Antigua Shipyard, or if you just scout a Forge Fast Expand, the great thing is you don't have to commit to Hydras at all. You just see a Forge Fast Expand into it. It's not like some type of weird early game build. You see Forge Fast Expand and they're like, oh, now I can go Hydras. And again, a lot of players go for 7 gate, very powerful off of 2 base, or Stargate tech to pressure and try and prevent the Zerg player from getting a 3rd, and then they're running 2 base versus 2 base, which is always an advantageous situation for the Protoss. So again, Hydra's good for that because they can actually shoot air, which is the first Zerg unit that can besides the Queen. So this is Lokazi casting for you. If you could follow me on those areas right there. The lokazi.blogspot.com is more of just like a giant compilation of strategies that's really easy to navigate. Try and keep that as up to date as possible. I'm going to add a bunch of the CSL stuff I've been doing the CSL stuff I've been doing lately onto there, and then these should be going there in the strat section as well. And thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate the viewership, and hopefully you guys enjoyed my casting. I will catch you guys next time in my next game.